Okay.
Red light's on, so it should be good.
Okay.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Michelle.
So I'm curious to find out, what is your lesson going to be about tomorrow that I'm going to see?
Well, my lesson is going to focus on the word skills as far as vocabulary. We read a story today and we introduced the vocabulary. Out of 6 vocabulary words, he understood a couple of them. He knew right off the bat. He knew them, but he struggled with probably 2 or 3 words. And I wanted to build upon those words that he didn't know, possibly using the Frere model, something where he could show me, more in-depth detail examples, examples and non-examples, and pictures.
Okay. So why do you think it's important in the lesson to focus on the words that he's not understanding?
It will help him not just for vocabulary, but with reading the text. It'll help him with his context clues. It'll help him how the word is being used in the story.
Okay, so these are words that are also in the story?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's good. So you're thinking about using the Frere model?
Yes.
Why do you think that would be, or why is that a choice?
For a Frere model, I think it would be helpful for the student because it has a visual, it has a definition, then an example, and then a non-example. So it will help him own the word more as how he can use it and not use it, and use it in a situation.
I agree. I think that you've justified why that would be a good choice. But if you're thinking about using the Frere model, what do you actually see going on in the lesson with using the Frere model? Like, how are you going to use it tomorrow?
Maybe I'll introduce the organizer and model for him one vocabulary word, and show him how it's supposed to be used so he can see my thinking with that vocabulary word. And then, I guess to see how, the way I ask questions as he is guided through the activity. Like when he's doing the Frere model, what questions can I help him with as far as him completing it, guided? I don't want to just give it to him, so he won't be independent on it yet.
Okay.
And then I have to think, I was thinking, after he does a Frere model, maybe do some sentences once he owns those words and see if he could use them in discussion or conversation and using sentences. So I'm hoping just that organizer word kind of help him own that word more and remember it.
Okay. And when you say own that word, how are you going to decide which word or what word you're going to use tomorrow?
From today's lesson, he struggled with I think 2 or 3 words. Some of them were deprived and foisted. And application, I guess. Once we go through the Frere model organizer, I think I want to see how he applies it.
Okay.
Using those words, if he fully understands how to use it in sentences and pictures, and then I feel more comfortable for going on.
Okay, so I think what I'm hearing is that, so you've identified a couple words that are in the story that you feel like he didn't really understand that well, and you've chosen the Frere model to get a good visual, and so he really owns the word for these couple words, and in the end, I kind of got the gist you wanted him to be able to use it in a sentence and prove that he really understands it?
Right.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page. I'm curious, though, how are you going to model and guide him through the Frere model process? If this is is this a new strategy for him?
This will be a new strategy for him.
So how are you going to maybe model and guide it?
I will take a word that we both understand as far as annoyed. Annoyed was in the story.
Okay.
And that was one of the vocabulary words, and he already had background knowledge of that. So I would model for him using annoyed, writing annoyed in the organizer, maybe drawing a picture of a little sister annoying a brother, give an example, non-example, talk about that and discuss it, and then give him a word so then he could practice. Now, I'm not sure if I should give him the one he already knows or should I give him the one that he doesn't know very well.
I'm not sure.
I have to see. That's something that I have to, assess once we do our modeling together.
Maybe think about what is the goal during the guided part? What are you trying to prepare him to be able to do? Maybe that could help you choose the word.
Maybe so he could get into it, maybe give him a word he already knows and then go into the ones he doesn't know. That's a good idea. Yeah, I think that'll be making him more comfortable.
Especially if it's a new format for him, a new strategy.
Word he already knows, yeah. So he'll see my modeling, then he'll do a word he already knows, and then he could go into the ones that he doesn't know. Okay.
And so how are you going to prepare yourself or make sure that he's prepared to go on to that next word that he doesn't know? How are you going to know when he's accomplished the guided part and ready for the independent part?
I think through what he writes on the Freire model and his oral responses. Then I can assess, through his thinking if the student understands the word better.
Yeah, and I think I got from you earlier though that that's the part that you're anticipating struggling with is not knowing so much when your student is ready to move on to that independent part.
Right.
Like not sure how successful the guided part has been. Mm-hmm. So can you think of maybe something I could look for in your lesson tomorrow that I could help you with to see if you have prepared him enough to do the independent work?
If you could, how I interact with him during my guided instruction, of how he's filling out the model, what he's doing. I don't want to say, stop, no, that's not right, let's go back, with something I could guide him with, because sometimes maybe I might take over too much or go straight into the independent activity when he hasn't really fully understood what I'm asking him to do. So just my oral conversations with him as I do the gradual release with the Freire model to see how I speak to the student.
Okay, so maybe I'm going to make a chart or some sort of way to keep track and list maybe your modeling, like your questions and his answers or his responses to see, and then we can talk about that in our reflection conference to see if you think that these were the things that you did during the guided instruction, these are the things that he did, his answers, his responses, his actions, and then we could talk about if you thought he was prepared to work on the independent part of the Freire model.
Sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah, that makes me feel better.
Good.
Thank you. Thanks,
You're
Michelle.
welcome.
Stop this.